What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode of Sports Talk with Hawk. I am Hawk, and it is a gorgeous Wednesday afternoon to be able to talk some football. Thursday night football coming into play, big division battle between the Cowboys and the G-Men. But today we're going to be going over some of the injury news, this week's 3 W's, 3 L's, and kind of looking at the overall landscape and doing a little bit of premature, I will even admit it. We're going to do a little bit of premature looking ahead of what may take place come January. So without further ado, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe, like the podcast, ring the notification bell. That way you get notified every time a new episode goes live. And here we go. So not a lot of injury news this week. Justin Herbert, we still don't have, as of Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. when I am doing this, as of Wednesday morning, we still don't have the official word on Justin Herbert. Now, I will say this. That team needs Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert without, or the Chargers without Justin Herbert are not the same by any stretch of the imagination. Jim Harbaugh's offense is not Kyle Shanahan's. Now, Jim Harbaugh with San Francisco had built the offense over time and then was able to move from Alex Smith to Colin Kaepernick to save money. And then had Colin Kaepernick, who really wasn't a great quarterback, liked his movements. He was a very athletic player, but honestly, QB-wise, missed a lot of throws. But was definitely serviceable. And that's all at that time with a ground and pound team, Frank Gore, with a ground and pound team, that's all San Francisco needed in their quarterback. Defense was tough, ground and pound offense, it worked. The Chargers are not there yet. Joe Alt, their left tackle, he's now injured. The injury bug has hit them a little bit. He is now injured. Justin Herbert, that plantar. Listen, I said it. That is an injury that takes a long time to heal, and he is not going to give it time to heal until the offseason, which means it will flare up. It will be a problem. Consistently, it will pop up. And you saw it happen in the Charger game. They were going to win that game over the Steelers, and they ended up losing. So 2 big injuries for the Chargers. Don't know about their status for this week as of right now. We'll keep watching that. Myles Garrett is having both feet looked at right now, and defensively for the Browns, they need him. Because offensively, they don't look good at all. You just lost to the Giants. Can we just be real here? The Giants are a team, yes, they're a real team. They're an NFL team with NFL talent, okay? I get that part. You got very, very little pressure on Daniel Jones. He looked comfortable, relatively confident, and basically carved you up defensively. So let's just take a realization here of how this looks. Myles Garrett is needed. Nick Chubb is only a couple weeks from coming back. Very, very important. Get Myles Garrett back. Be able to stay relevant in the AFC. Skylar Thompson, the quarterback for Miami, had a rib injury on Sunday. They play on Monday Night Football against the Titans. Coach McDaniel has come out and said he's not really sure what's going to happen. A quarterback change is definitely possible heading into that night. Doesn't really know who it's going to be at this point. No word from Tua's camp on what's going on. I know his family wants him to retire. The NFL wants him to retire. He's on IR so they can do all the CT scans, do everything else to make sure if he comes back, they are clear. And it's very important, and I respect how it's being handled from the league side of things at this point. Do keep an eye on A.J. Brown's injury. He's been out for 2 weeks. Keep an eye on his injury. If he keeps being out, that offense is not very powerful. It doesn't look the same. It definitely does not. We'll see how it all plays out, obviously. But keep an eye on that. Austin Eckler got banged up at the end of the Washington Commander game versus Cincinnati Bengals. Keep an eye on that. Ramondre Stevenson has fumbled in 3 straight games. And Antonio Gibson is sitting there waiting in the wings as of right now, potentially to be put into the starting role because of said fumbling issues. And Stevenson is definitely a better running back, but Antonio Gibson is the better receiving back. So right now, that's a little bit of a, not injury, but performance rated review. Minshew is currently the number 1 quarterback in Las Vegas. Listen, it's not Minshew. I don't think it's Minshew. And O'Connell is not going to make it any better. Minshew won 8 games with the Colts last year. He's not great. He's not horrible. Your defense allowed Carolina to run up and down the field. Look at the defense first. Okay? Look at the defense first. Something was off on the defense. You guys had a hangover from beating the Ravens. All right. That's all the injury news I have for right now. Jordan Love, as usual, game time decision. Could play, may not play. Who knows? I wouldn't play him. I really wouldn't. Not at all. I would not bring him back against a division opponent that is leading the league in sacks. This is where you will get him hurt worse. I would wait another week, take what happens, move forward. Let's dive in to 3 and 3. 3 W's, 3 L's. So the 3 teams that won last week, that this week need to avoid a loss. And avoid a loss badly. Number 1, very simply, the New York Jets. Now, I know what you're saying. Hold it, Hawk. They're home against the Broncos. They're not going to do what the Buccaneers did. Listen. Their defense hasn't looked stellar yet. Sean Payton knows Nathaniel Hackett's system. Sean Payton knows what that offense is going to try to do. He knows what that defense will do. He's been studying it long enough. Bo Nix is growing before our eyes exactly how I said he would. Right now, Jaden Daniels is better. No turnovers? It's not getting talked about enough. Caleb Williams and Bo Nix have a lot of turnovers. A lot. Caleb Williams is potentially going to break Peyton Manning's record. Now, if he ends up being as great as Peyton Manning afterwards, good for him. But right now, it looks bad. It looks bad. He's not going to get benched. He won't, and he shouldn't. Let him play. Bo Nix, same thing. He could throw 30 interceptions. Sean Payton's not going to care. Give me 35 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Year number one, 3,500 to 4,000 passing yards. Get us in the wild card. I'll take it. But right now, if you're the Jets coming off the win over the Patriots, the previous week over the Titans, you got rest, you're at home, you have to avoid the letdown game against the Broncos before the division battle. You've got some tough games coming up for the Jets. You got to handle business against the Broncos this week. The Jets have to avoid the loss. All right, another team. They got the W last week that needs to avoid the loss this week. It goes without saying, I guess, but the Los Angeles Rams going to Chicago cannot pull a Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders just let the Panthers all of a sudden look like a formidable NFL team when they looked like garbage before. So you can't let the Bears and Caleb Williams all of a sudden figure stuff out. Watch the Colts game, watch what Williams does, understand where his mistakes come from, and let the guys play. You have to avoid the loss against the Bears. You do that, and by the way, you're back to 500. And truthfully, right in the thick of the wild card conversation. Right in the thick of it. Absolutely in the thick of it. So, number one, New York Jets. Number two, Los Angeles Rams. Number three, teams that need to avoid an L this week after winning last week, Indianapolis Colts. I'm sorry. This game against the Steelers is big. It is big. The undefeated Steelers, can't believe I'm saying that, the undefeated Steelers are coming in. Now, I had them at 2-1 right now. Let me be very clear. When I did the standings predictions, I had them beating the Chargers at home because of a West Coast team coming over. I know I picked the Chargers in my picks, but in the beginning of the season standings predictions, I picked them to be 2-1 heading into this game. I thought they were going to lose week 1 to Atlanta. But I thought they'd beat Denver, rookie quarterback. Thought they would beat the Chargers, only third week for Harbaugh, not fully ready to go yet. And, not really how it played out, but currently they're 3-0. They just beat the Falcons week 1. The Indianapolis Colts did not figure out their run defense. They did not figure out their defense. They just played the Bears. The Rams are currently in the same boat. The Rams need to just play the Bears. get back to 500, start getting healthier, moving forward, and they'll be okay. It's where we're at. That is 1,000% where we're at. So, the three teams this week that need to avoid a loss: the Rams, the Indianapolis Colts, and the New York Jets. The Colts, Richardson cannot have 5 turnovers. Cannot have 5 turnovers. They played the Bears. That's why the Rams are there. Played the Bears. They needed to win. They had to beat the Bears. Well, now you kind of got to beat the Steelers, because if you go down 1-3, like I've told you guys, everybody is allowed to have a bad game. Get off of Houston's back. Get off of it. You're allowed to have a bad game a year, and guess what? They had a bad game. It decided to be week 3. They came out and publicly said, we have never seen the defensive schemes that we saw with Brian Flores. Good for Brian Flores. And good for them to see some of those schemes. Now they're going to be even better. Get off of the Texans' back. They're just fine. But they are the number 1 team in my 3 teams that need a W this week. Texans are at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I wanted to put the Jaguars into this spot, saying they needed a W over the Texans. I don't have any faith in Peterson. I know this is a division battle, but it's in Houston. And I told you guys that Jacksonville and Houston would split at the beginning of the year. Right now, Houston's better. They're coming home after a road game where they got smashed. They'll be ready to play. Houston needs a W. Get back on the right track. Keep pace with the Chiefs. Keep pace with the Bills. That's what they got to do. Go 3-1. And then Jacksonville's sitting at 0-4. That ain't a good one. That is not a good one. At all. So, number 1 team that needs a W this week, absolutely the Houston Texans. Second team that needs a W this week, they got to get off the schneid. They have really got to get off the schneid. The Cincinnati Bengals are on the road against the Carolina Panthers. They are winless. The Patriots beat them, lost to the Chiefs, fine, and then lost on Monday Night Football to the Commanders, who, by the way, today, well, basically yesterday, didn't get any respect for how they played. It was disgusting. Everything was about how Cincinnati's defense is one of the worst defenses. Joe Burrow doesn't look completely in sync with his receivers. Who the heck cares? The Commanders, through 3 games, have no turnovers. How about you start focusing on the fact that they're a really gosh darn good team? Even in their loss, they weren't beating themselves. Jaden Daniels getting more and more comfortable. Terry McLaurin is starting to get the rhythm. Zach Ertz, which is why they brought him in, getting the rhythm. Okay, let's give some respect to Washington. But Cincinnati did lose at home Monday night to the Washington Commanders. I'll give you that one. They needed to win that. They're now 0-3. They are now 0-3. And they have got to get something figured out. You're going into Carolina. Honeymoon game is over. Your ex-quarterback starting on the other side now. But you need to go into Carolina and get this W. Get this W. Big game for Cincinnati. They go 0-4 It's it's a little scary here. It's a little scary. All right, the third team that needs a W after a loss last week. Reality check. Here we go. The team that needs a W after a loss last week, the Las Vegas Raiders. Yes, I put the Raiders here. They are home against the Cleveland Browns, another team that has done very little on offense, kind of like the Panthers. They got embarrassed at home last week. Either the guys respect Antonio Pierce or they don't, and you're going to find out this week. You will find out this week whether or not that team respects Antonio Pierce or they don't. They win sneakily. They are 2-2. And if the Chargers don't have Herbert against the Chiefs, I like the Chargers with Herbert. Without him, the Chiefs win. The Chargers are 2-2. And you're sitting right in the thick of an AFC that kind of feels a little watered down compared to what we all thought in the offseason. Feels a little watered down. The NFC doesn't really feel all that great right now either. But the AFC, 2-2, you're sitting in the thick of it. You're ahead of the Colts. You're ahead of the Jags. You're ahead of the Bengals. You're ahead of the Browns then. You'll have a head-to-head win over them. This is a big game for the Raiders season early because right now there's a lot of teams that would need to go on 3, 4, 5-game win streaks to get themselves back into it. 0-4 for the Bengals. It's why they got to win. 0-4 for the Jags. It's why they got to win. To get to 9-8, then you got to just be on fire from here on out. I think Jacksonville may play inspired. I think Houston's a little bit better. I definitely think Houston's better. But yeah, Las Vegas, flat out, needs that W. So 3 teams that need a W this week. They are the Raiders over the Browns, Texans over the Jaguars, and the Bengals over the Panthers. And that is the week 4, 3 W's and 3 L's. Okay. Let's look at tomorrow night's game. Dallas Cowboys at the New York Football Giants. Sorry, throat was getting a little dry. I need a drink. What to expect in this game? I don't know. I don't know. Here is what I have seen the last 2 weeks. That Dallas defense is soft. They had really good linebackers at a time. Not right now. Linebacking core is weak. They have Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. Defensive tackles aren't ready yet. I think they will be serviceable, but they're not ready yet. They're young. They're getting punched in the mouth early. Saints, Ravens. You jump on this team, they're done. Dak's leading the league in yards. Yeah, garbage yards. He was out of it. The Ravens stopped playing. Saints stopped playing defense. Who cares if you throw for the most yards when you're losing? Garbage yards are horrendous. Fourth quarter yardage is a two-way stat. It either shows how bad you are or how good you are. You're down 28-6. Defense is just playing cover two. They're just playing deep. You take all the short stuff, you get yardage, score because they're sitting back. Oh well. That's how it works. I really believe Brian Daboll feels this is the season. The Commanders are a team that's going to be reckoned with. Now, for the record, currently I've got Arizona at home beating Washington. I think Arizona's offense should be able to outscore them. I'm not really sure on this because of Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels changes the game in how they've played, and Arizona's defense isn't great by any stretch. So I think Arizona will win, but I won't be surprised if Washington does. Philadelphia at Tampa Bay is not a good matchup for Philadelphia this week. Tampa Bay just got embarrassed at home by a rookie quarterback. They're going to be ready to play. The offense is going to be ready to play. The Eagles' defense sucks. And Tampa Bay is going to be ready to roll today. Roll this week. So I'm picking Tampa Bay. That's actually one of my picks this week that I'll lock in. By the way, this is 3 weeks in a row that it's either been 5-2, 2-5, 2-5. I can't seem to go 4-3, 3-4, 6-1, or even 1-6. Looks like 5-2 and 2-5 is how I'm going to be the entire season. But this week I'm hoping to change something in my picks record, as now I am 9-12 on the year, and we're going to try to get back above 500. That's where I want to be. I want to be the end of the year through 18 weeks. Basically, it's 120. Hang on. It's like 120 games I'm going to end up officially picking through 18 weeks. Okay? 84 plus 42, 126. So sorry, 130. Because I am going to pick I will officially pick each Thanksgiving Day game as well. That will be a special Hawks early picks, because then I'll only have my pick video that weekend because I'll be with family, eating food and enjoying life. So in total, it'll be like 130 picks this year. My goal is to win 75. If I go 75-65 this year, I will count it a success. It's kind of what Vegas banks it on. 60% is what you're going for, above 500. Anything above that is even better. So I'm hoping to bring it back in. But at the end of this game on Thursday night, we're going to have a very clear indication of where this division could go. Because if the Giants win, they are then 2-2 after a big win over the Browns. They are now 2-2. The Cowboys are 1-3. The Giants beat the Browns. The Cowboys beat the Browns. The Giants got beat by the Vikings. It's all right. Big deal. Okay. But the Cowboys have lost to the Saints and the Falcons. Or sorry, the Saints and the Ravens. The Giants are ready to play this week. They're at home. Their game ended earlier than the Dallas game on Sunday. Wasn't a long flight, Cleveland to New York. Dallas ended in the afternoon like normal after getting pounced, physically beaten up for 2 weeks. I want the Giants to come out and physically run down their throats. Tomorrow night, I want to see the Giants with Devin Singletary. I want to see them go 2 tight ends, block their ends, Lawrence and Parsons, and run straight at the Cowboys. Use the clock. I want the Giants to get the W. CeeDee Lamb is a little bit off right now. They can get back on page really quick. I have no doubt of that. Double cover. Make them beat you through the air. Don't let Dowdle, Elliott, whoever it ends up being, don't let them run out of the backfield. Don't let the running game get going. Punch the Cowboys in the mouth and put them down on the ground and go get the W. That's what I want to see the Giants do tomorrow. That's what I am expecting to see the Giants do tomorrow. Run it. Cowboys are weak. Cowboys don't look good. I said it at the beginning of the year. The way the schedule plays out, they could end up sneaking around 9 wins. Going 1-3 is big, especially in this division. Commanders are already 2-1, so they can go 2. They can lose this week and be 500. Eagles can lose, be 500. Giants can win, be 500. Cowboys win, they're 500. This week is a big week. Week 4, we start getting into bye weeks here. It matters. How are you through the first quarter of the season? I know there's 17 games. Shish. 4 weeks is still a quarter of the season. That 5th week is added to the final quarter. Or I guess the second quarter because of how the trade deadline is. There's 5 weeks in the second quarter of the season to week number 9 with the trade deadline. So there you go. All right. 3 W's, 3 L's, injury reports, and preview of Thursday Night Football. I'm excited. The season's been wild, guys. The season has been absolutely wild. We have had some outstanding performances. Tomorrow night, we'll do our top 10 heading into week number 4. Lots of movers, lots of shakers after last week. I did figure out what was going on with the program. So, put out my week 2 recap. And I have to do things a little bit differently. The program isn't working the same as it was. But nothing I couldn't figure out how to be able to get around. So, we're back. We're rolling. And hopefully I've got all 5 episodes for you guys this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been a blast. Until tomorrow, this is Sports Talk with Hawk, and I'm Hawk. And for now, I'm out.